US President Joe Biden, Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin held 62-minute call on Ukraine crisis. US President Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin have concluded a call to discuss the crisis in Ukraine as the White House says intelligence shows Russia could invade on short notice. The call lasted 62 minutes according to the White House. Biden planned once again to call on Putin to de-escalate and pull back the well over 1 lakh Russian troops that have massed near Ukraine's border. The US picked up intelligence that Russia is looking at Wednesday as a target date for an invasion, according to a US official familiar with the findings. The official, who was not authorized to speak publicly and did so only on condition of anonymity, would not say how definitive the intelligence was. The White House says publicly that US does not know with certainty whether Putin is committed to an invasion. Russia denies it intends to launch an offensive against Ukraine. Elon Musk said on Thursday he was highly confident his new SpaceX Starship designed for voyages to the Moon and Mars will reach Earth orbit for the first time this year despite a host of technical and regulatory hurdles yet to be overcome. The billionaire SpaceX founder and CEO addressed a throng of news media and supporters at his company's Starbase facility in Texas for a presentation that combined a high-tech pep rally with big screen videos and a question and answer section. It came 9 months after the private California-based space venture achieved the first successful launch and touchdown of a Starship prototype rocket in a test flight after 4 previous landing attempts ended in explosions. Musk acknowledged difficulties SpaceX has faced in developing the Raptor 2 engines for its Super Heavy rocket, a reusable next-generation launch booster designed to carry the Starship spacecraft to orbit. He cited problems with melting inside the thruster chambers of the engines from intense heat. But he said we are very close to solving that and expected to scale up production to about 7 or 8 of the engines a week by next month and produce a new Starship and a booster every month by year's end. I feel at this point highly confident that we will get to orbit this year, said Musk, who also heads electric car maker Tesla. Such a time frame would mark an ambitious feat, even for an uncrewed orbital test flight of the Super Heavy Starship combo, the next step up from SpaceX's current workhorse Falcon 9 rocket, which Musk said has flown 144 successful launches and 106 return landings. US health regulators on Friday authorized a new antibody drug that targets the Omicron variant, a key step in restocking the nation's arsenal against the latest version of COVID-19. The Food Drug Administration said it cleared the Eli Lilly drug for adults and adolescent patients with mild to moderate cases of COVID-19. Lilly announced work on the treatment late last year after testing revealed that its previous antibody therapy was ineffective against the dominant Omicron variant. The Biden administration has purchased 6 lakh doses before the authorization and will begin shipping initial supplies to state health authorities for distribution. It is an important step in meeting the need for more tools to treat patients as new variants of the virus continue to emerge, said Dr. Patricia Cavazzoni, FDA's Drug Center Director. The FDA announcement comes after the 2 leading monoclonal antibody treatments in the US turned out to be ineffective against Omicron, Data indicated that Lilly drug also works against the emerging BA.2 mutation of Omicron. Lilly said the contract for its new drug, Mebtelovimab, is worth at least $720 million. Laboratory-made monoclonal antibodies stand in for the human body's immune system by acting to block an invading virus delivered by IV or by injection. The medicines are meant to be used early in an infection. Scientists say COVID-19 treatments like monoclonal antibodies are not a substitute for vaccination. Under the US contract with Lilly, the government will receive about 3 lakh treatment courses of the new antibody drug in February and another 3 lakh in March. Myanmar's junta on Saturday announced an amnesty for more than 800 prisoners as it held a parade and show of force in the capital to mark the country's Union Day. The country has been in turmoil since last year's coup, with mass protest and a subsequent military crackdown that has killed more than 1,500 civilians, according to the UN's Human Rights Office. Junta Chief Min Aung Hlaing issued the pardon order, a regular feature of major holidays in the country for 814 prisoners, state media said, marking the 75th Union Day. The annual holiday commemorates an agreement between independence hero Aung San and several ethnic groups to form a union of Burma independent of British rule. Those given amnesty will be mostly from prisoners in the commercial hub Yangon, junta spokesperson told AFP. He did not say whether Australian academic Sean Turnell, who has been detained for more than a year, would be among those released. The economics professor was working as an advisor to civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi when he was arrested last February, days after she was ousted by the military. He has been charged with violating Myanmar's official secrets law and faces a maximum penalty of 14 years in prison if found guilty. About 100 people gathered outside Yangon's insane prison on Saturday morning, hoping to be reunited with the loved ones, AFP correspondent said. 4 minibuses left the prison around noon local time and drove away, with those inside waving as people in the crowd shouted the names of the relatives. A video of hundreds of yellow-headed blackbirds falling from the sky, some of them dead, has gone viral on social media. The incident happened in the northern Mexican city of Cuauhtemoc, raising questions about the cause. Now, experts have said the birds were probably flushed from above by a predator bird swooping down to make a catch, The Guardian reported. Dr. Richard Broughton, an ecologist with UK Centre for Ecology and Hydrology, said, "This looked like a raptor, like a peregrine or hawk has been chasing a flock, and they have crashed as the flock was forced low. You can see that they act like a wave at the beginning, as if they are being flushed from above." The footage showed hundreds of birds falling from the sky in a mysterious circumstances. While most of them flew away, carcasses of some of the birds could be seen scattered on the streets. Soon after, there was speculation that 5G technology was behind the incident. Local media reported that vets blamed rising levels of pollution. Some also speculated that the birds were electrocuted. Kindergarten worker Natalia Sleeves-Arevo's ears were ringing after she was thrown against a door by a shell blast during an attack that has sent tensions roaring amid fears that Russia will invade Ukraine. The projectile blew a hole in the wall of a 2-story building being used by 20 children and 18 staff in the government-held eastern Ukrainian village. It was a close call. Everyone escaped relatively unharmed after rushing to the other side of the building and covering against the walls on the ground floor. The children were eating breakfast when it hit. Natalia told. It hit the gym. After breakfast, the children had gym class. So another 15 minutes and everything would have been much worse. A series of Ukrainian and Western leaders have expressed alarm and urged Russia not to exploit the tensions on the front line as a pretext to launch its feared offensive against Ukraine. More than 1 lakh Russian troops have all but encircled Ukraine during the Kremlin standoff with the West over NATO's expansion into Eastern Europe. I was scared. The kindergarten has no bomb shelter. It only has thick walls, but they even managed to puncture those. She said, I still can't calm down. Natalia sounded shaken hours after the dust had settled and the cleanup had begun. Tennis great Novak Djokovic has broken the silence about his stand on vaccination and the deportation saga he had to go through in Australia earlier this year after he was denied a chance to defend his Australian Open crown in Melbourne. The Serb has said the status of his greatest ever men's tennis player doesn't matter to him more than the freedom to choose what he wants to put in his body. Djokovic, who has not taken the vaccine against COVID-19, faces the risk of missing major tournaments in the future as well. He is scheduled to return to action at ATP 500 Dubai Tennis Championships, which will take place between February 21 to 26. Djokovic's visa was cancelled after his arrival in Melbourne over lack of evidence for COVID-19 vaccine exemptions. He spent a few days in an immigration detention center for an Australian court squashed the cancellation after the tennis star opted for legal process. However, the Serb was deported eventually from Australia after immigration minister decided to cancel his visa for a second time. I was never against vaccination, he told BBC, but I have always supported the freedom to choose what you put in your body, he added, saying that he had taken vaccines as a child. I understand that globally everyone is trying to put a big effort into handling this virus and seeing hopefully an end soon to this virus. Asked if he would risk missing major tournaments in the future, he is not able to play due to mandatory vaccine regulations. Djokovic added, yes, that is the price that I'm willing to pay. Because the principles of decision making on my body are more important than any title or anything else, I am trying to be in tune with my body as much as I possibly can. Elon Musk compared Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau with Adolf Hitler in a tweet that appeared to support truckers protesting vaccine mandates and which immediately triggered a storm on Twitter. Musk sent the tweet on Wednesday just before midnight in California and had deleted it by midday on Thursday without explanation. He did respond to a request for comment. Musk, the chief executive of Tesla, in late January tweeted support for the Canadian truckers who have shut down roads and bridges, drawing international attention to their opposition to health policies published by Trudeau's government. Responding to a tweet describing how Trudeau's government had ordered banks to help cut funding to the protesters, Musk posted a meme of photo of Hitler with "Stop comparing me to Justin Trudeau" written above his head and "I had a budget" below it. The tweet came as Musk and Tesla on Thursday accused US Securities and Exchange Commission of an endless investigation to punish Musk for criticism of the US government. Musk has 74 million followers on Twitter, making his one of its most prominent accounts that is often seen as a marketing boon for electric car maker Tesla. Musk is known for edgy humor and bland assessments, but his comparison of Trudeau with the Nazi leader who was responsible for the genocide of millions of Jews and starting World War II went too far for many Twitter users. The world needs to hold masterminds behind terrorist plots accountable for their deeds and call their bluff. India said on Monday at the UN, asserting that it is equally important that they are not allowed to mislead the international community by painting themselves as victims of terrorism. Delivering India's national statement at the open briefing on the work of Counter-Terrorism Committee Executive Directorate with member state of South and Southeast Asia, Counselor in India's permanent mission to the UN, Rajesh Parihar said that the world had witnessed the horrors of 2008 Mumbai terror attack, 2006 Pathankot terror attack, and 2019 Pulwama terrorist attack. We all know from where the perpetrators of these attacks came from. It is regretful that the victims of these dastardly attacks are yet to get justice, and the perpetrators, facilitators, and the financiers of these attacks continue to walk free, still enjoying state support and hospitality, he said, making a reference to Pakistan. He added that in South Asia, under the Taliban, Afghanistan once again is at risk of becoming a safe haven for Al Qaeda, ISIS, and a number of other undesignated terrorist groups. Parihar reiterated that terrorism is the most serious threat to mankind today, and combating terrorism should be at the heart of any discussion on the global common agenda for the future. As UNSC Resolution 1566 notes, terrorism grossly impairs the enjoyment of human rights and threatens social and economic development of all countries and regions. American West reported mega drought deepened so much last year that it is now the driest in at least 1200 years and is a worst case climate change scenario playing out live, a new study finds. A dramatic drying in 2021, about as dry as 2002 and one of the driest years ever recorded for the region, pushed the 22-year drought past the previous record holder for mega droughts in the late 1500s and shows no sign of easing in the near future, according to a study in the journal Nature Climate Change. The study calculated that 42% of this mega drought can be attributed to human-caused climate change. Climate change is changing the baseline condition towards a drier, gradually drier state in the West, and that means the worst-case scenario keeps getting worse, said study-led author Park Williams, a climate hydrologist at UCLA. Williams studied soil moisture level in the West, a box that includes California, Wyoming, Arizona, most of Oregon and Idaho, much of New Mexico, western Colorado, northern Mexico, and southwest corners of Montana and Texas, using modern measurements and tree rings for estimates that go back to the year 800. That is about as far back as estimates can reliably go with the tree rings. Climate change from the burning of fossil fuels is bringing hotter temperature and increasing evaporation in the air, scientists say. Williams used 29 models to create hypothetical world with no human-caused warming, then compared it to what happened in real life. The scientifically accepted way to check if an extreme weather event is due to climate change. He found that 42% of the drought conditions are directly from human-caused warming. Without climate change, he said, the mega drought could have ended early on because 2005 and 2006 would have been wet enough to break it.